Hello there, Michael Leckie and Mark Bowden here with you with our Career Ask Me Anything and our current hashtag politics of leadership version as we're looking at what's happening in the world with politics and what lessons and what things we might take from that as we apply it to general organizational leadership. So here's a question that we have. What insights can managers gain from the way presidential candidates handle high-pressure debates and public scrutiny? And I think I would throw into that presidential candidates or other leaders such as prime ministers, one that you've recently worked with who got elected, Mark. So tell us, what insights can managers gain from the way that these top political candidates handle high-pressure debates and public scrutiny? Since you've prepped them for some of them, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I'm going to give you one view on this. It's not my only view because I've got many views on this, but it's a viewpoint that I gave a client of mine just yesterday. Somebody actually really just starting out in their career, and I would say a quite huge amount of anxiety around what other people think of them under pressure, under extreme pressure. And as you know, Michael, that's something that I work with every day, is helping people with that extreme pressure and how they handle that. Now, what I said to this person isn't necessarily what I'd say to everybody, and I don't think it's the tool and the technique for everybody, but it's a useful tool and technique. Here's what I said. It is none of your business what other people think of you. It is none of your business what other people think of you. Now, I know that's not the only way to look at the world. And when I think about, for example, Donald Trump, who I like in many ways and dislike in many ways. I think he's a wonderful character. He's a wonderful. He's a one-off. He is a total one-off. And there's so much that I like about him and so much that I dislike about him, and so much that I don't care about him. But at times, there is somebody who I think is using that technique of just going, what anybody thinks of me, it's none of my business. Now, I think at times, it very much is some of his business what somebody else is thinking of him. And I think that's what makes the character of him, that he deeply cares what other people think, and how he responds to that is with the sense of, I really don't care what anybody thinks. I think one technique that you can cultivate under pressure and communicating under pressure and getting yourself across is that thing of going, it is really none of my business what you think of me. Now, it may be my business what you think of my message and what you respond to in terms of the ideas that I have, but me, like, you can have any opinion you like. I may care about those opinions. They may hurt me or not hurt me, but it's none of my business to inquire after them or even look towards them or get information on them, because that's not useful for the job of getting the message, the idea across. Michael, what are your thoughts on this one?
What I want to do is, there was a number of thoughts, and I'll tell you honestly, my first thought was about, well, what I care about is who I am and what I think. But then I realized that was leading me down a road of just, I'm going to say who I am no matter what, which sometimes really isn't the thing that is the most, and you used the word first, which I love, useful. And so I think when I'm in a high pressure situation, there's two things I want to do. The first one I learned from a good friend up in Canada, Mark Bowden. He said, breathe. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to breathe when I'm under that pressure, give my chance to get some oxygen to my brain, get things flowing. And then the question I'm going to ask myself is, what is the most useful response here? So to do that, in going into a high pressure or a debate-like situation, I need to know what outcome I'm looking for. You know the old saying we've heard a million times, if you don't know where you're going, just about any road will get you there. So you need to know, where am I going right now in this debate, in this moment, in this conversation, in this dialogue? And then you have to say, what would be the most useful response to get me there? Now, I'm not encouraging you to tell lies or falsehoods or things that you can't work with or stand up behind, but you need to think of what is the most useful response to move this forward. Take a breath. What's useful? And one of the things that we know, and we've done this work with executives time and time again, and we have this little model of when relationships go dysfunctional. And one of the things when someone is really coming at you, sometimes, just a character assassination, whatever it may be, is not to get trapped in it and just to disengage. And the disengage could mean saying nothing, and it could mean just acknowledging where they're at. I had this once with someone I was dealing with in business who was very angry with how things were proceeding. She'd inherited basically a business relationship and a contract, and she was letting us have it, no holds barred. And she kind of stopped with just throwing it all at us. I could see the finger in my face, and I stopped and I said, boy, I can see this really frustrates you and angers you. And then I just left it be, and I didn't rescue the situation. I didn't attack her back. I didn't say, oh, poor me. I just acknowledged it, but I disengaged from it. So thinking through when you're in these high-stakes situations, take that breath, center yourself, think what's most useful with the outcome I want to achieve, and go from there. Mark, any kind of closing thoughts on this one?
No, not at all. I think there's, a couple of really strong, clear, good techniques. There's lots more out there. If those ones don't suit you, go and see some of the other videos that Michael and I have done, and you'll probably find some other techniques really for just dealing with the stress of the work day, sometimes at its most stressful. And if you've got questions around those stressful elements in your career, then michaelleckie.com/ask. You can put your questions there, or just stick them somewhere around this video on the platform that we're on and you're watching us on, and we'll be able to pick up your question there. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.